Vision is not just a goal. It is not a vague wish. It is not a list of things you think would be nice to have one day. A vision is power. It is the force that drives action, that creates momentum, that transforms dreams into reality. Without a vision, life is scattered, directionless, reactive. But with a vision, every day has meaning, every step has purpose, every decision becomes clear. Most people do not have a vision for their lives. They wake up every day doing the same things, following the same routines, reacting to whatever happens, hoping that somehow, someday, things will improve. They set short-term goals. They chase temporary desires, but they never take the time to create a vision that is so strong, so compelling, so alive, that it pulls them forward every single day. And this is why so many people struggle with motivation. They rely on willpower. They wait until they feel like taking action. They force themselves to work hard, but deep down, they are disconnected from a deeper purpose. They don't have a vision that excites them, that fuels them, that makes the effort worth it. But those who achieve the extraordinary, those who create massive success, who wake up with energy, who push through challenges, who refuse to quit, they all have one thing in common. They have a vision that is so clear, so personal, so emotionally powerful that it pulls them forward, even when they don't feel like it, even when things are hard, even when the results aren't coming fast enough. A vision that inspires action is not just a picture of what you want. It is a force that moves you. It is something that wakes you up in the morning with a sense of urgency. It is something that makes obstacles feel small, that makes setbacks feel temporary, that makes success feel inevitable. And this is the key. A vision should not feel distant. It should not feel like something you hope to achieve one day. It should feel real. It should feel possible. It should create an emotional response so strong that you cannot help but take action. The mistake most people make is creating a vision that is too weak. They create something logical, something safe, something that doesn't stretch them, something that doesn't excite them. And because their vision is weak, their motivation is weak. Their actions are inconsistent. Their results are average. A powerful vision must do three things. It must be clear. It must be compelling. And it must be connected to who you are at the deepest level. Clarity creates direction. Compelling emotion creates urgency. And connection ensures that you stay committed, no matter what. So the question is, what is your vision? Not just what you want, but what you are willing to commit to, what you are willing to build, what you are willing to sacrifice for. Because a true vision does not just inspire thought, it inspires action. This is not about wishful thinking. It is not about writing down a list of things you hope will happen. It is about designing a vision so powerful that it makes action automatic, so powerful that excuses disappear, so powerful that fear becomes irrelevant. And if you can do this, if you can create a vision that ignites something deep inside you, you will never struggle with motivation again. You will never need someone to push you. You will never wonder what to do next, because your vision will become the force that drives everything. A vision that inspires action begins with clarity. If you cannot see it clearly, if you cannot describe it in detail, if you do not feel it as if it already exists, then it is not a vision. It is just an idea. And ideas do not move people. Visions do. Most people never take the time to develop a clear vision. They think in vague terms. I want to be successful. I want more money. I want a better life. But these statements mean nothing to the subconscious mind. They do not create emotion. They do not create urgency. They do not trigger the part of the brain that drives action. A powerful vision must be specific. It must be something you can see, hear, feel, experience in your mind before it happens in reality. You must be able to close your eyes and walk through your vision as if you are already living it. If your vision is about financial freedom, what does that actually look like? How much money do you have? Where are you living? What does your home look like? What kind of lifestyle are you experiencing? What are you doing every day? Who are you surrounded by? What does it feel like to wake up and know you never have to worry about money again? If your vision is about health, how do you see yourself? What kind of energy do you have? What kind of shape are you in? How do you feel when you wake up in the morning? What activities do you do effortlessly that used to be a struggle? How does it feel to live in a body that is strong, vibrant, and full of energy? If your vision is about building something, whether it's a business, a legacy, an impact, what does it look like? How does it operate? How many people does it serve? What is the effect it has on the world? What does a normal day look like when you are living this vision? What does it feel like to see your work making a difference? The more specific your vision is, the more real it becomes in your mind. And the more real it becomes in your mind, the easier it is to take action. Because when you can see it clearly, you stop wishing and start working. But clarity is not enough. Your vision must be compelling. It must create an emotional response so strong that you want to take action. It must be so powerful that inaction feels painful. If your vision does not make you feel something, it will not inspire action. If it does not excite you, if it does not make your heart beat faster, if it does not make you wake up in the morning hungry to make it happen, then it is not strong enough. This is why people set goals and never follow through. They write things down, they make lists, they set deadlines, but they never attach emotion to their vision. And without emotion, there is no urgency. A compelling vision is something that moves you. It is something that makes you feel alive. It is something that you cannot ignore. When you think about it, you feel energy rushing through your body. You feel excitement. You feel purpose. You feel a sense of destiny pulling you forward. But how do you create that kind of emotion? How do you turn a vision into something that drives you? One of the fastest ways is to connect your vision to something bigger than yourself. If your vision is only about you, it will never be as powerful as it could be. But if your vision impacts others, if it changes lives, if it contributes to something greater, it takes on a new level of meaning. Think about the most successful people in history, the ones who changed industries, who built legacies, who created movements. They were not just working for themselves. They had a vision that extended beyond personal success. They wanted to change the world. They wanted to leave something behind. They wanted to create something that would last long after they were gone. And because their vision was bigger than themselves, it fueled them in ways that personal ambition never could. It made them unstoppable. It made them relentless. It gave them the kind of drive that most people will never understand. So ask yourself, who else does my vision impact? Who else benefits when I succeed? Who else will suffer if I fail? Because when you connect your vision to something bigger, excuses disappear. Procrastination disappears. Fear disappears. You stop thinking, I don't feel like it today, because you realize that it's not just about you. You realize that Every step forward changes not only your life, but the lives of others. And that kind of vision, that kind of deep, emotional, mission-driven vision is what makes action automatic. It is what makes effort effortless. It is what makes quitting impossible. But even with clarity, even with emotion, a vision must be aligned with your true self. It must be something that feels right at the deepest level of your being. Because here's the truth. If your vision is based on what other people expect of you, it will never be strong enough to sustain action. If your vision is built on external motivation, what society wants, what your family wants, what looks impressive, it will never create the kind of fire that fuels long-term success. A vision that inspires action must come from within. It must be your vision, not someone else's. It must be something that you want, not something you think you should want. So ask yourself, is this truly what I want? Does this vision excite me, or is it something I feel obligated to pursue? Because if you are chasing something that does not align with who you are, you will never have the energy to see it through. But when your vision is yours, when it is something that comes from deep inside you, when it is something that speaks to your soul, you will find energy you never knew you had. You will find motivation even when things get hard. You will find strength even when the world tries to stop you. And when you combine clarity, emotion, and alignment, when you create a vision that is so clear you can see it, so compelling you can feel it, and so deeply connected to who you are that it becomes part of your identity, you will never need to force yourself to take action again. Because at that point, action becomes inevitable. A vision that inspires action does not just live in your mind, it lives in your habits. It is not just something you think about, it is something you embody. Because a vision that stays as a thought will never create results. It must be translated into daily action, into consistent movement, into a way of living. Most people make the mistake of treating their vision as a distant goal, something they will work on someday when the conditions are perfect. They tell themselves, when I have more time, when I have more money, when I feel more ready, then I will start. But that mindset kills momentum before it even begins. A vision that truly inspires action is one that demands action now, not later, not next year. Now, it does not wait for perfect conditions. It does not wait for the right moment. It does not wait for you to feel ready, because if you are waiting to feel ready, you will be waiting forever. This is where most people fail, not because their vision is wrong, but because they do not anchor it into daily action. They treat it like an idea instead of an operating system for their life. And because they do not integrate it into their daily decisions, they never build the momentum necessary to turn it into reality. Momentum is everything. Once you start moving toward your vision, even in the smallest way, your mind begins to shift. You stop seeing your vision as a dream, and you start seeing it as inevitable. You stop feeling like someone who is trying, and you start feeling like someone who is becoming. And that shift from trying to becoming is what makes the difference between those who succeed and those who never start. So how do you turn a vision into something that pulls you into action every single day? One of the most powerful ways is to reverse engineer your vision. Instead of seeing it as something far away, bring it closer. Break it down into pieces. Identify the first step, not the whole journey, just the first move you can make today. If your vision is to build a business, what is one action you can take right now to get started? Not next week, not when you have everything figured out. Now, if your vision is to get in the best shape of your life, What is one decision you can make today to move in that direction? Not next month, today. Because action creates clarity. You do not need to see the entire path. You only need to see the next step. And once you take that step, the next one will appear, and then the next. And before you know it, you will have built momentum so strong that stopping is no longer an option. But here's where most people hesitate. They overcomplicate action. They think they need the perfect plan. They think they need all the answers. They think they need to eliminate all risk before they move forward. But that mindset is what keeps people stuck. Because waiting for certainty is just another form of procrastination. You will never have all the answers. You will never have a perfect plan. You will never be 100% ready. And that's why you must start now anyway. And this is where the concept of identity-based action becomes so powerful. Instead of just setting goals, instead of just making plans, you must start acting like the person who already has what you want. Because success is not just about doing, it is about being. And once you shift the way you see yourself, the way you act will follow. Ask yourself, how does the version of me who has already achieved this vision think? How do they act? What do they do daily? What habits do they have? What choices do they make? If your vision is to be financially free, do you think someone with that level of success hesitates every time they make an investment? Do they waste time on distractions? Do they let fear control their decisions? Number. They move with certainty. They think long term. They take action before they feel ready. If your vision is to be in the best shape of your life, do you think someone at that level negotiates with themselves every morning about whether or not to exercise? Do they constantly break their own promises? Or do they just do it, regardless of how they feel? Because the truth is, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. If your habits are inconsistent, your results will be inconsistent. If your daily actions do not match your vision will remain a fantasy. But if you condition yourself, if you train yourself to act like the version of you who has already succeeded, success becomes inevitable. So the key is to align your actions with your identity. If you see yourself as someone who struggles, you will act like someone who struggles. If you see yourself as someone who is disciplined, you will act like someone who is disciplined. If you see yourself as someone who always finds a way, you will act like someone who always finds a way. And the way you change your identity is through repetition. Every time you take an action that aligns with your vision, you reinforce that identity. Every time you show up consistently, you rewire your brain to expect success. Every time you keep your word to yourself, you build self-trust. And when you trust yourself at the deepest level, you cannot fail because quitting is no longer an option. This is why discipline is so important, because discipline is not about motivation. It is not about forcing yourself to do things you hate. It is about training yourself to move toward your vision automatically, without questioning, without negotiating, without hesitation. And the way you develop discipline is simple. You stop breaking promises to yourself. Every time you say you will do something and then don't, you weaken your identity. You teach your mind that your words don't matter. You build the habit of quitting. But when you keep your promises, when you take action, no matter what, you build the kind of internal strength that makes success inevitable. So ask yourself, am I waiting or am I moving? Am I making excuses or am I taking action? Am I negotiating with myself or am I committed? Because the moment you commit fully, the moment you decide that you will act every single day, no matter what, your vision will stop being something you dream about, and it will start being something you live. A vision that inspires action must be reinforced daily. It is not enough to create a vision once and hope that motivation will last. Motivation fades, energy fluctuates, life gets in the way. And if you are not reinforcing your vision every single day, you will lose momentum. You will get distracted. You will forget why you started. Most people allow their environment to dictate their focus. They wake up and immediately get pulled into distractions, emails, social media, other people's problems. They spend their day reacting instead of creating. And because they are not consciously reconnecting with their vision, their mind gets cluttered with everything except what truly matters. But those who achieve extraordinary results do something different. They remind themselves of their vision every single day. They do not wait for inspiration. They create it. They do not leave their focus to chance. They condition it. They do not let their vision get buried under daily distractions. They amplify it until it dominates their thinking. This is why rituals are so powerful. A ritual is not just a routine. It is a deliberate practice designed to keep your mind aligned with your vision. And if you do not have a ritual that reinforces your vision, you are leaving your focus to chance. One of the simplest yet most powerful rituals is visualization. Not just thinking about your vision passively, but experiencing it as if it is already happening. Closing your eyes, seeing yourself living your vision, feeling the emotions of success, experiencing the details so vividly that your mind begins to accept it as reality. Because the subconscious mind does not know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you visualize your vision with intensity, you are not just dreaming, you are training your brain. You are programming your mind to expect success. You are strengthening the identity of the person who is already achieving it. And the stronger that identity becomes, the more naturally you will take action. Because when your mind already believes the vision is real, every action you take will align with that belief. You will move with confidence. You will make decisions faster. You will see obstacles not as problems, but as temporary inconveniences on a path that is already set. But visualization alone is not enough. A vision that inspires action must be spoken into existence. Your words shape your reality. What you say out loud reinforces what you believe. And if you are constantly speaking in ways that contradict your vision, you are weakening it. Most people speak in limitations. They say things like, I hope this works. I'll try my best. I don't know if I can do this. But language like that creates doubt. It reinforces hesitation. It conditions the mind to see the vision as uncertain rather than inevitable. Those who live their vision speak differently. They speak as if their success is already decided. They say things like, I am becoming the best version of myself. I always find a way. This is who I am now. And by repeating these words daily, they strengthen their belief until taking action becomes automatic. So ask yourself, what language am I using every day? Am I speaking in doubt or am I speaking in certainty? Am I reinforcing hesitation or am I reinforcing confidence? Because your words are either fueling your vision or weakening it. And if you want to create a vision that pulls you forward, you must start speaking in a way that aligns with the success you are creating. And here's something most people overlook. the power of writing things down. There is something about putting your vision on paper, physically writing it out, that solidifies it in your mind. Studies have shown that writing down your goals makes you significantly more likely to achieve them. But beyond the science, there's a deeper reason why this works. When you write something down, you give it form. You turn an idea into something tangible. You take a thought and translate it into physical reality. And the more you write your vision, the more real it becomes in your mind. The more you own it, the more it becomes a part of you. So if you are serious about reinforcing your vision, make it a habit to write it every day. Not once a month, every single day. Because repetition is the key to programming the mind. And the more you write your vision, the deeper it is embedded. Now, here's another critical piece. Your environment must support your vision. You cannot create a vision that inspires action if you are surrounded by people, places, and influences that contradict it. Your environment is either reinforcing your vision or pulling you away from it. And if you do not take control of your environment, it will take control of you. If you are surrounded by people who think small, who do not believe in your vision, who constantly speak in limitation, your mind will absorb that energy. It does not matter how strong you think you are. Environment always wins. This is why successful people are ruthless about their environment. They do not allow negativity into their space. They do not spend time with people who drain their energy. They do not consume media that fills their mind with doubt. They protect their vision by designing an environment that reinforces it every single day. So look at your surroundings. Ask yourself, is my environment supporting my vision or distracting me from it? Are the people I spend time with pushing me forward or holding me back? Are the messages I am consuming strengthening my mindset or weakening it? Because if your environment does not align with your vision, you must change it. And finally, one of the most powerful ways to reinforce your vision is through daily reflection. Most people are constantly doing, but they never stop to think. They never evaluate. They never ask themselves, am I moving in the right direction? Am I staying aligned with my vision? Am I making decisions that reflect the person I am becoming? But those who live their vision take time every single day to reflect. They ask themselves, what did I do today that moved me closer to my vision? What could I have done better? Where do I need to adjust? And by doing this, they keep themselves on track. They make sure they are growing instead of just staying busy. Because the truth is, action alone is not enough. You must take the right actions. You must make sure that every move you make, every habit you build, every choice you commit to is aligned with your ultimate vision. And that requires reflection. That requires self-awareness. That requires making adjustments when needed. So ask yourself, am I actively reinforcing my vision every day? Am I creating rituals that align my mind with my goals? Am I speaking in a way that strengthens my belief? Am I protecting my environment? Am I reflecting on my progress? Because a vision that is reinforced daily becomes unshakable. And once your vision is unshakable, action becomes automatic. A vision that inspires action must be bigger than your excuses. It must be stronger than your fears. It must be powerful enough to pull you forward even when you do not feel like taking action. Because the reality is, you will not always feel motivated. You will not always feel inspired. You will not always wake up excited to move toward your vision. And this is where most people fail. They rely on feeling instead of commitment. But those who bring their vision to life do not wait until they feel like it. They do not negotiate with themselves. They do not wake up every morning debating whether or not to take action. They have already decided. And because they have decided, they move, no matter what. This is the difference between those who succeed and those who struggle. It is not about talent. It is not about luck. It is not about intelligence. It is about discipline. The ability to move forward consistently, even when the results are not coming as fast as you want, even when you feel tired, even when the world tells you to quit. So the real question is, are you disciplined enough to bring your vision to life? Because discipline is not something you are born with. It is something you train. And if you do not train yourself to take action, despite discomfort, you will never reach the vision you have created. One of the most powerful ways to build discipline is to eliminate negotiation. Most people spend their days negotiating with themselves. Should I do this now or later? Should I push myself today, or should I take it easy? Should I stick to my plan, or should I give myself a break? But the moment you give yourself an option, you give yourself an excuse. Successful people do not negotiate. They do not waste mental energy debating whether or not to take action. They have made their decision in advance. They have already committed. They have already trained themselves to move without hesitation, without delay, without question. Already trained themselves to move without hesitation, without delay, without question. And this is the key. You must train your mind to expect action, to make it automatic, to remove the need for willpower. Because willpower is unreliable. Willpower fluctuates. Willpower runs out. But commitment is unshakable. So ask yourself, have I truly committed to my vision, or am I still negotiating? Have I trained myself to take action, or am I waiting to feel ready? Because the moment you eliminate negotiation, the moment you remove hesitation, the moment you decide that your vision is non-negotiable, everything changes. But discipline is not just about taking action. It is about staying focused on what matters. Because distractions are everywhere. Every single day, there are 1,000 things fighting for your attention. And if you're not ruthless about your focus, you will get pulled away from your vision. Most people do not fail because they lack intelligence. They do not fail because they are not capable. They fail because they get distracted. They start strong, but then life happens. They allow small, meaningless things to take priority over their vision. And before they know it, days, weeks, months have passed, and they are no closer to their goals. This is why you must protect your focus like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. The quality of your life is determined by what you give your attention to. And if you are giving your attention to things that do not align with your vision, you are stealing from your own future. So ask yourself, what am I focusing on every day? Are my daily actions aligned with my vision, or am I getting distracted? Am I prioritizing what truly matters, or am I allowing small things to pull me away? Because success is not about doing everything. It is about doing the right things consistently. And here's something most people never realize. Your vision must have a sense of urgency. If your vision feels like something that can wait, something that you will get to someday, then you will never take massive action. Because the human mind does not respond to distant goals. It responds to deadlines. It responds to urgency. It responds to pressure. This is why some people only take action when their back is against the wall, when they have no choice, when they have reached a breaking point, because in those moments, there is no time to hesitate. There is no time to make excuses. There is only action. But you do not need to wait until you are forced into action. You can create urgency right now. You can set deadlines that force movement. You can create pressure that demands action. Because when you do this, when you make your vision urgent, you will no longer waste time. You will no longer procrastinate. You will no longer put things off until later, because later does not exist. So ask yourself, am I treating my vision with urgency? Have I set deadlines that force me to act? Or am I allowing time to slip away, assuming I will get to it eventually? Because if you want to make your vision a reality, you must treat it like it is life or death. And finally, a vision that inspires action must be reinforced with accountability. Because no matter how strong your vision is, no matter how disciplined you are, no matter how focused you try to be, there will be moments when you feel weak. There will be moments when doubt creeps in. There will be moments when you need someone to push you. The most successful people in the world do not rely on themselves alone. They have coaches. They have mentors. They have people in their life who hold them to a higher standard. People who will not accept their excuses. People who will not let them quit. People who will remind them of their vision when they forget. Because no one is strong every day. No one is motivated every moment. No one is immune to setbacks. And this is why accountability is so powerful. It keeps you moving even when your mind tells you to stop. So ask yourself, who is holding me accountable? Who in my life is pushing me to be better? Who will call me out when I start making excuses? Because if you do not have accountability, you are making success harder than it needs to be. A vision that inspires action is non-negotiable. It is urgent. It is protected. It is reinforced. It is backed by discipline, focus, and accountability. And once you make these things a way of life, success is no longer a question of if. It is a question of when. A vision that inspires action is a commitment, not a wish. It is something you live by, something you breathe, something that becomes who you are. It is not something you do when it's convenient. It is something you do no matter what. And once your vision reaches that level, you become unstoppable. Most people fail, not because they lack talent, not because they lack potential, but because they never fully commit. They want success, but they are not all in. They are still waiting for permission. They are still holding on to a backup plan. They still give themselves an exit when things get hard. And as long as quitting is an option, commitment is impossible. So the real question is, have you burned the boats? Have you made your vision the only option? Have you eliminated hesitation, removed excuses, destroyed every way out? Because those who achieve the extraordinary do not just try, they decide. They do not just hope, they demand success from themselves. They do not just set goals, they refuse to live any other way. This level of commitment is rare, but it is what separates those who talk about their vision from those who live it. It is what separates those who start from those who finish. Because when you remove hesitation, when you commit so deeply that success is non-negotiable, you no longer need motivation. You no longer need external validation. You no longer wonder if it will work. You make it work. But here's something most people never think about. Your vision must evolve. It cannot stay the same. It must grow as you grow. It must expand as you expand. Because if you are not stretching, if you are not pushing the limits of what you believe is possible, then you will plateau. And when you plateau, your vision loses power. If you are not pushing the limits of what you believe is possible, then you will plateau. And when you plateau, your vision loses power. A vision that inspires action is alive. It is constantly moving forward. It is constantly challenging you. It is constantly demanding that you step up to a higher level. And if your vision is not doing that, if it feels stagnant, if it no longer excites you, if it no longer scares you a little, then it is time to go bigger. So ask yourself, is my vision stretching me? Is it forcing me to grow? Is it making me uncomfortable in the best way possible? Because if the answer is no, then your vision is too small. And a small vision will never inspire massive action. And this leads to something even deeper. Your vision must be bigger than you. It cannot just be about personal success. It cannot just be about what you get. It must be about what you give. Because the most powerful visions are the ones that create impact, the ones that leave a legacy, the ones that make the world better in some way. If your vision is only about you, it will never be strong enough to sustain long-term action. But if your vision affects others, if it helps people, if it changes lives, if it contributes to something greater than yourself, then it becomes unbreakable. Because now quitting is not just about you, it is about everyone who depends on you. This is why the most driven people in the world are not just working for personal gain. They are working for their family. They are working for their community. They are working for the people who look up to them. They are working to serve at the highest level. And because their vision is so deeply connected to others, they do not stop. They do not slow down. They do not let challenges shake them, because their mission is bigger than their discomfort. So ask yourself, who benefits when I succeed? Who am I doing this for? Who is counting on me to show up every day? Because when you connect your vision to a greater purpose, action becomes automatic. Discipline becomes effortless. Sacrifice becomes meaningful. And success becomes inevitable. But there is one final piece that determines whether or not your vision will become reality: your ability to adapt. Because no matter how strong your vision is, no matter how committed you are, no matter how much action you take, there will be obstacles. There will be setbacks. There will be moments when things do not go as planned. And if you're not willing to adjust, if you're not willing to find another way, you will get stuck. Most people quit not because they lack vision, but because they are too rigid in their approach. They expect everything to go smoothly. They think the path will be straight. They assume success will come exactly how they imagined it. And when it doesn't, they stop. They lose faith. They abandon their vision. But those who succeed understand that the vision stays the same, but the strategy can change. If one path doesn't work, they find another. If one door closes, they knock on 10 more. If one attempt fails, they learn, they adjust, and they come back stronger. This is why resilience is just as important as discipline. You must be able to take a hit and keep moving. You must be able to hear no and keep going. You must be able to experience failure and not take it personally. Because failure is not a reflection of your worth. It is a test of your commitment. So ask yourself, am I willing to adapt? Am I willing to adjust my approach when needed? Am I committed to my vision even when the plan has to change? Because if you can answer yes, if you can stay focused on the outcome rather than the path, you will never be stopped. A vision that inspires action is not just something you think about. It is something you become. It is something that shapes your identity, fuels your discipline, strengthens your resilience, and connects you to a purpose greater than yourself. And once you create a vision like that, once you live that vision, there is no force in the world that can stop you.